It's everything you've seen in a bad horror movie, a bad slasher, but it just lacks charm. Especially like the way our like lead characters talk to them. I'm not familiar with these actors too much, but there's just like this weird awkwardness to their performance, especially with the character of Ryan. There's just so many times where, you know, they're kind of romantic at first, but then he just starts saying like really weird shit that instantly makes you suspicious of him and thinking like, oh, well, maybe this is going to be the big twist in the movie. Maybe it's just like, oh, shit, the fact that he's acting kind of weird, kind of sus. Maybe he's actually in on it. Maybe this is the innovation that Rennie Harlan has promised with this new trilogy. Nah, he's just a bad actor. Or at the very least, he's directed in such a poor way and he's given such a terrible script that he just sounds weird. Honestly, I wish it was the last chapter. I really wish this was the last chapter for The Strangers, but we'll see. We'll see if we'll get chapter 2 and we'll get chapter 3. So I have to start off by saying, you know, I would say this particular year has been, you know, pretty good for the most part for horror films, you know, like it has been for the 2020 so far. You know, we've had some really entertaining movies like the Neolithic survival thriller Out of Darkness, which came out earlier this year, the killer giant spider movie Sting, the vampire film Abigail, the criminally underrated First Home, which I didn't think the movie would be all that great, turned out to be one of the best movies of the year so far, and what I consider to be the best horror film and one of the best movies of 2024, Late Night with the Devil. Highly recommend people checking out all of those movies. I thought they were amazing. And yes, you know, we've had some stinkers as well, like Night Swim, Imaginary, and more recently the abysmal fantasy horror film Tarot. But I would argue there's been more good than bad in the horror genre and its various subgenres this year. And, you know, that brings us to Rennie Harlan's reboot, remake, prequel. I don't even know at this point. The Strangers Chapter 1. You know, I'll admit at the top, I wasn't the biggest fan of the first Strangers when I saw it, I guess at this point, what, 15 years ago, over 15 years ago? I honestly found it just kind of dull. But a lot of people seem to really like that film quite a bit. And, you know, it's looked at as one of the better horror films of the 2000s. Though, to be fair, the 2000s wasn't exactly the best decade for the horror genre. It was in a bit of a rough spot. You know, we were just getting torture porn movies and ghost movies every other week. You know, at least that's the way it seemed to me. But it's clearly liked by a lot of people. And perhaps I owe it a rewatch to see if I like it more. I never saw the sequel. Which felt like it came out 10 years too late. Matter of fact, I think it did come out 10 years after the original film. But Rennie Harlan, who I would say is a mixed bag of a filmmaker, to say the least. You know, hey, I have to admit, I love Deep Blue Sea.
First, we're gonna seal off this.
But I don't think the man has made a good movie in a while. But he is tripling down with 3 Stranger movies that are all supposed to come out this year, I suppose. But we have this first film in this new would-be trilogy, and yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's a pile of shit. It's an absolute pile of shit through and through, from beginning all the way to its end. But before diving headfirst into this shit pile that is The Strangers, let me provide you with a synopsis. After their car breaks down in an eerie small town, a young couple is forced to spend the night in a remote cabin. They are soon terrorized by 3 masked strangers who strike with no mercy and seemingly no motive. Now, as I said before, it has been quite some time since I've seen the original Strangers film, a movie I'm not particularly fond of to begin with. But it's almost as if Harlan kind of saw the original film as well and said to himself after seeing it, you know, that was pretty good, but I want to reboot it and just make it really shitty. It needs just a nice coating of shit. That's actually what this movie is through and through. It doesn't seem to innovate on the original or take the concept in a more interesting direction. It just copies the original from what I can tell, but then it just inserts every tired horror movie cliche with stupid characters doing stupid things because the writing is just so stupid. You know, there are just so many moments where our two lead characters, Maya and Ryan, our young couple, just do incredibly dumb things that make it impossible for us as the audience to cheer them on or their survival. They do every single dumb thing in the book. I mean, saying, I'll be right back. I'm sure it's over now. Let me make as many loud noises as possible so we can attract the killers to our location so they can then attempt to kill us over and over and over. And that's what it is. It just literally repeats those three things and then just wraps around and does it again throughout the entire 90 minutes of its running time. It's everything you've seen in a bad horror movie, a bad slasher, but it just lacks charm. It lacks any sort of charm, and also there's just this kind of pervasive weirdness with our characters, especially like the way our like lead characters talk to them. I'm not familiar with these actors too much, but there's just like this weird awkwardness to their performance, especially with the character of Ryan. There's just so many times where, you know, they're kind of romantic at first, but then he just starts saying like really weird shit that instantly makes you suspicious of him and thinking like, oh, well, maybe this is going to be the big twist in the movie. Maybe it's just like, oh, shit, the fact that he's acting kind of weird, kind of sus. Maybe he's actually in on it. Maybe this is the innovation that Rennie Harlan has promised with this new trilogy. Nah, he's just a bad actor. Or at the very least, he's directed in such a poor way and he's given such a terrible script that he just sounds weird. Like at one point in the movie, this is like a major plot point. After, you know, they go eat at a diner at one point and the locals are like, we don't take kindly to strangers here. It's like, they said the name of the film. And then, you know, they get harassed and everything. And eventually they get an Airbnb at this cabin, remote cabin in the middle of the fucking woods in bumfuck nowhere. And our character of Ryan, he's asthmatic or something. He needs an inhaler, basically. And at one point he forgets his inhaler. He has to go back. But he just, like, says it in a weird way. It's like, I'll be right back. Don't worry. And it's just like, I don't like the way you fucking said that. I think you're in on this. I think you're in it with the strangers, and you're about to slaughter your girlfriend. But nah. It's just a really poor performance. That's what it is. And so the movie kind of tricks you to think that, oh, there's actually more going on. There's nothing going on. It's just they're really, really bad. They're just really, really awkward. And yeah, the strangers themselves, which I don't know their names. I guess they have names. I think they list them in the credits. I think one's called Dollface or something. One might be called the Scarecrow. I couldn't even tell you what the other one's name is, the third one. It doesn't really fucking matter. These strange, they suck. They just suck through and through. There's nothing about them that stands out as slashers. When you think about, like, you know, the iconic slashers that have been around for decades or helped either start the genre or the subgenre, I should say, you know, your Michael Myers, your Jason Voorhees, your Freddy Kruegers, you know, and hell, your Chuckies, your Ghostfaces, right, who kind of brought it back. Like, these three just do the same things that all those guys do, except just worse. You know, a lot of the times they just come across as really incompetent, you know, not all that scary. I'm not saying that, you know, these killers need to have a motivation. You know, some of these, you know, slashers, like, don't have a motivation. That's what makes them scary. Sometimes they're just purely evil. But when you're so obviously aping other killers that don't seemingly have, like, any motivation, you know, and you're just doing kind of the same things that they've done in the past, it's just like, well, what makes you so special? Like, why should I be interested in this project to begin with? And because you're never really just not. You know, like the strangers themselves, this trio of Scarecrow, Dollface, and who the fuck the other guy is, it's like you just don't really care. You know, they're just kind of there. They're just like, well, you know, we got to do something in this movie. Just have them do the same things that all of these types of slashers and serial killers do. Like, have them just watch the family, or, you know, in this case, the couple. Have them sneak in, just do creepy shit. and then leave, just stalk and harass. But there's just nothing interesting about them, and listen, do you guys care about spoilers? Do you guys care about spoilers for this movie? Because there's really not a lot to spoil. So much of this movie is like a remake of the original film, like through and through. You don't care. Okay, that's fine. I don't think it really matters. Like, there's no reason for you guys to really see this. If you want to watch any of the Strangers movies, I suppose you should just watch the original, which a lot of people do like. But the movie has nearly the exact same ending as the original film, right? So the original film, you have you have the couple, they end up being tied up. You have good old Liv Tyler. She's asking, like, why did you do this? Why are you doing this to us? Why are you trying to kill us? And I always thought this was kind of lame. And one of the killers says, because you're here. That's why. Because we just like killing people, like harassing people, etc. Right? They literally do the same thing here again. They have both the couple tied up. They profess their love to each other. They ask, why are you doing this? And it's because you're here. And they stab the one guy. They stab Dumb Ryan in the tummy. He dies, seemingly. And then they stab Dumb Maya. She dies. But she doesn't. She doesn't die. She survives. And unlike in the previous film, where I believe like these Mormons like find her or something like that, she's like, she screams and shit. In this movie, she wakes up in the hospital. Yeah, it's like, oh, she survived, right? Except one of the killers is in her room, which I'm like, I don't think that would actually happen. I'm not sure that would happen, but sure. So he's there, and it says, to be continued. And it's like, are you shitting me? Because that's the thing. Like, they're just teasing you of 2 more entries in this, but I already don't care. I didn't like this couple to begin with. I didn't like Dumb Ryan, doing dumb things and saying awkward things, but hopefully he's dead, so I don't have to deal with him anymore. But I don't care about Maya either. There's nothing interesting about her. I mean, at the very least, I will say this. Like, the movie occasionally does, like, that was kind of a cool idea. Like, there's this one part in the film, there's a sequence when you have a character whose hand goes through a nail and they can't scream. I was like, okay. Then you got to deal with that. And you don't want to alert the killers to your location. But again, we've seen that done before. It's been in so many other horror films when a character ends up getting horrifically injured and they can't scream or say anything or move because that'll alert the killer to their presence and their location stuff. And so it does that, but it's like, okay, that was a relatively well put together like little sequence right there. But those sequences are so few and far between. And again, you just don't like these characters because they're so fucking stupid. That's what it comes down to. And so, yeah, it's like when I even think back to the original, what I can remember of it, it's just repeating what that original film did, except in a worse way. And so I just like watching it just made me think like, okay, what was the purpose of this movie? I mean, make money, obviously, capitalize on a brand. But I just feel like The Strangers as a franchise, like it never really was a franchise. Like that first film was a hit. It made money. It was made inexpensively, made probably, I don't know, like 8 times, 10 times its budget. I wouldn't be shocked if it did that. But then they never really capitalized on it because they made that sequel, which came out, like, I feel like, 10 plus years later, if not longer. And I didn't see the movie, but I heard a lot of people did not like that film. And so now you're just trying to reboot it. But there was never really, like, I don't know, I feel like a fervor for this fan base in the same way there's a fervent fan base for other iconic slasher characters, whether it be Michael Myers from Halloween or Chucky from Child's Play, or even more recently, and which has done very well, the Scream movies with Ghostface. It's just weird. It's just a really poorly made slasher film in a time where we've gotten a lot of great slasher movies. Just this weird thing, and the fact that they apparently felt so confident in it that they already shot the 2 other films and plan to release those other 2 movies at some point theatrically this year. It's just baffling to me. I mean, I honestly don't think they're going to do that. I think what's going to happen is, I don't know how this movie performed. I don't have a clue. But if those movies are already in the can, then they're just going to release them on VOD. Though they are destined to be in the $5 bin at Walmart or Target. That's their destiny, chat. Along with this movie, it's honestly not worth your time. There's so many other better horror films, again, that I suggest you guys should absolutely check out. From Out of Darkness to Abigail to Late Night with the Devil to The First Home, those to Sting, those are worth your attention. Okay, this movie is head and shoulders next to the other bad horror films that we've sadly gotten this year, like Night Swim, like hell, I already forgot some of them. That's how bad they're. Imaginary, like Tarot, Chad. It sits comfortably next to those films. Don't waste your time. But what about you guys? I'm actually curious. Are there like really big Stranger fans out there that really loved the first movie and you were excited for this film? For those of you who have seen it, did you hate it as much as I did? Think it was a waste of time, or did you actually like the movie? Were you more mixed on it? Let me know.
5 minutes later.
What about you guys? I'm very curious. It did well, so apparently it made a lot of money. There you go. $5 movies away. That's what it's destined to be in that bin. If there ever was hype, yeah. I'm actually curious to see what this movie did. Let me actually look that up really quickly. I am curious. The Strangers, Chapter 1. Made maybe nearly doubled its budget, chat. Budget 8.5, box office 15.1. You know, I mean, it's not going to be, it's going to crater next week, but yeah. According to Wikipedia, it was deemed unpleasant by critics. I agree. I agree with you, Wikipedia. Indeed. Base, Chris, base. Thank you, Ryushi. Appreciate that. And my friend told me this was the Disney remake of Strangers movies. Yeah. $5 movies at Walmart. Movie looks cheap. It'll probably already make its money. Yeah, it made its money back. Yep. They're no longer selling DVDs? Oh, never mind. It's not destined for the $5 bin at Target. I'm convinced these movies are money laundered. Just put down a few million, get 10 times more money back. Yeah. Who are the strangers you keep talking about? I don't fucking know. It's this weird-ass trio. Scarecrow and Dollface and somebody else. Almost made $12 million this weekend of $8.5 million budget. Hated the first movie? Oh, there you go. Yeah, I didn't like the first movie either, Katrina. I thought the characters were as dumb as you described these characters. It's been so long since I've seen that film. Maybe I'm forgetting how dumb those characters were. But I've met some people that love that movie. I'm just like, I didn't care for it at all. So thank you. I'm glad I have one person that agrees with me. I think I've heard any positive things about this movie, even from the fans of the first. Hush is so much better. Yeah, if you want to see something, because the thing is, I'm kind of the audience I feel like they want to get for this movie, because I love like home invasion movies. They're like really cool. And there's so many great ones out there. Hush I always bring up by Mike Flanagan, his first film, so goddamn good. Highly recommend Hush. You also have Adam Wingard's You're Next, which is excellent, another wonderful home invasion movie. There's a long history of excellent home invasion films in the horror genre for decades, and this one just, it has that premise, but it doesn't do anything interesting or clever. Even then, if it's like, okay, you're not doing anything new in terms of what the killers do, at least provide us with characters that we can care about, and they can't even do that. Like, this couple fucking sucks. Like, they're just so awkward. They have no chemistry with each other whatsoever. Yeah, just the Strangers is a franchise I have no interest in, and I don't want to see any other entries. I'll never see the sequels if they release them, on theaters. I'll do reviews, but these go straight to VOD. I ain't fucking reviewing them. Save me some time. Lisa Hardhands, good to see you, Lisa. Welcome to stream. 33 months of incredible support. Hope you're doing very well. Give me one of those buy one movie. Get the other three free. Yeah, we were scared of the concept of home invasion rather than the film. The home invasion is a brilliant concept and is very, very scary. Very scary. It's just there's so many other better films that have done it. I do remember teenagers when I was growing into. Wait, what? I remember teenagers when I was growing who got an irrational fear of home invasion because of the movies. I don't think I've ever seen the movie Teenagers. When your biggest star is a girl from Riverdale, that's saying something. Oh, is that what she's from? See, I'm not familiar. I never really watched Riverdale. I don't know. I've seen clips and shit, but Original's okay for me, says Clown Freaks. Not good, but not bad. But when I heard based on true events, that's... Oh, yeah, I know. It was like... I forgot that was part of the marketing. Now you mentioned it. It was like, oh, shit, you're right. Yeah, it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. Yeah. Who else is here? Let's see. Let's see. Boo! Does Scream count as home invasion? Yeah, it counts. Yeah, I mean, a lot of slashers, incorporate home invasion elements, obviously, the killer going into the house. Yeah. That counts. That's part of the subgenre. Even that once you said it was kind of cool was already done the first Quiet Place. Yeah, the nail. I mean, it's a thing that we've seen before in other horror films, right? And this does it, but it's just like, okay, I can admire that, like, isolated, but again, like you said, it's just been done better. Plus it involves a character that we actually care about. Like, we actually care about Emily Blunt. Plus, it's made even more concerning because she's heavily pregnant and she's about to give birth. And so, it's just like, oh, shit, and you got alien stick bug monsters that want to squish her. And so it's like you have all that stuff on top of it. It's like, oh, makes it a little more interesting, a little more thrilling. But this one is just like, all right, not nearly as interesting or captivating. The first Purge movie acts as a good home invasion thriller. Yeah. For sure, she's like one of those movies that, despite critics being more whatever on it, not caring for audience, seem to gravitate. Yeah, they really, I mean, horror in general. But yeah, a lot of people like that movie. I just thought it was just really fucking boring. Again, it's been 15 years since I've seen that film. So, or nearly 15 years for all I know. Main actor for this whole trilogy was Riverdale, and this film was also Richard Brake, Joe Chill from Batman Begins, and The Night King, Game of Thrones. Yeah. That's the other recognizable actor. Would Jordan Peele Us count as a home invasion movie because your clones break in? Yeah, that counts. Yeah. Yep. First Halloween, brilliant home invasion movie. Michael going between houses, yeah. Black Christmas, excellent, wonderful, love that movie. I got a big head, that's true. Panic Room, yep, home invasion. And there you go. It's not got the cabin count because that has a vacation cabin. I guess so. There's a home invasion element. Has sequences in there. Yeah, chat. There you go. But yeah, overall, chat, Stranger Chapter 1, duty. Big duty movie.